What happens when two colleagues become stranded on a deserted island and the only survivors of a plane crash where they must overcome past grievances and work together to survive, but ultimately it's a battle of wills and wits to make it out alive. Well, I just experienced it in this film right here, from the man who brought us Spider-Man and The Evil Dead. But is this recent hit horror film as good as the critics say? Or does this one need to be left completely stranded on a deserted island completely longer than this one did? Find out right now in this spoiler free review of Send Help. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome again to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. I'm the Big D, and this time around, I bring to you a spoiler free review of the 2026 survival horror thriller flick Send Help, released by 20th Century Studios, directed and co produced by Sam Raimi, ran by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift. Starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien as an employee and her boss, respectively, who become stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash and attempt to survive while tension rises between them. This film was released earlier this year on January 30th and eventually did pretty well and got very good reviews. Now, of course, with just about every spoiler-free review, I'm only giving you a little bit of the film story, but not all of it, though. So let's get into the story. Socially awkward and downtrodden corporate strategist, or I mean strategist, excuse me. Well, I think it's pronounced either way, but I think it's strategist. Excuse me, everyone. Linda Little anticipates a long promised promotion from Bradley Preston, the son of her former boss, upon his appointment as CEO. Instead, Bradley awards the position to Donovan, a recent hire and former fraternity brother, and plans to sideline Linda in a dead end role, citing her abrasive manner and lack of charisma. When Linda confronts him, Bradley says that he is impressed by her boldness and invites her to accompany him, Donovan, and two other executives on a business trip to Bangkok to finalize a company merger. During the flight, Donovan humiliates Linda by playing an audition tape she made for Survivor, yes, the TV show itself, highlighting her survival skills. As the plane passes through a storm, it suffers engine failure and rapidly loses altitude. Well, altitude. Well, it's pronounced either way. Again, altitude, whatever. But I'd say it's altitude. During explosive decompression, Donovan attempts to strangle Linda and take her seat, but she stabs him with a fork. Everyone except Linda and Bradley are sucked from the aircraft before it crashes into the sea and sinks. Linda escapes, swims to the surface, and clings to floating debris. The next morning, Linda wakes on a remote island in the Gulf of Thailand and finds Bradley alive but badly injured. With no other survivors, Linda builds shelter and secures food and water. Bradley relies on her, but he continues to treat Linda as a subordinate. And in response, Linda abandons him for 2 days. And what have you. Well, when she returns, Bradley is near collapse from dehydration. Though still resentful, he begins to accept her authority. Linda proves adept at survival, catching fish and killing a wild boar. While exploring the far side of the island, she spots a passing boat. Though tempted, Linda deliberately avoids signaling it. Now, again, I don't mean to leave you hanging on by a thread, but I'm sure some of you have seen it already. But this is a spoiler free review. So if you want to know what happens then, you must see the movie. Now, the film is currently available on physical media right now, and it just came to Hulu last week, so you can watch it on Hulu alone or Hulu on Disney Plus. Now, from what I've seen of Send Help, this turned out to be more different than I thought it might be. It really didn't quite have as much as horror than I had anticipated. Well, not until later on, but I will not be spilling the beans on that little subject. No, no, no. But I must say, this was much good than even the other horror films we had gotten before that in Primate and 28 years later, The Bone Temple. And this easily outdid those two big time. The film did well, going on to make 94 million worldwide on its $40 million budget. Anyway, but I've got to give it credit for what it had to offer. Anyway, now for the reviews, Rotten Tomatoes was very nice to this, giving it a 93%, where they say putting director Sam Raimi's penchant for diabolical mayhem to great use. The film doesn't need any assistance in thrills thanks to a very game Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, along with a viciously clever script. Yes, I must admit the story is very good. Metacritic has a score of 75, and audiences polled by CinemaScore gave it a B plus. Now, for other reviews, IndieWire's Allison Foreman gave this an A minus, calling it a wickedly lovable flick with the potential to be timeless. Michael Phillips of the San Francisco Chronicle wrote, "At simplest, we have here a performance showcase for O'Brien's artfully restrained sniveling, and especially for McAdams' miraculous shape-shifting abilities. Essentially, the film is Castaway if Wilson, the volleyball, was a misogynist tool." Now, Frank Scheck of the Hollywood Reporter wrote, "It could be said that the film indulges in more Baroque plot twists than fully necessary and begins to lose some steam toward the end. But the surprising climax plus an amusing coda brings it all home. Audiences are in for quite a ride." Yes, you will definitely be in for one big time. Now, Deadline's Pete Hammond wrote, "The film is the first movie gem of 2026, a devilish treat and welcome respite from the real world. It's a pleasure." Jeanette Katsoulis of the New York Times said, "From its cheeky score by the director's frequent collaborator, Danny Elfman, who I'll get to in just a moment, to its darkly humorous tone and playfully yucky special effects, the movie is Raimi at his most gleeful and twisted." The Raps' Amelia Emberwing wrote that the film is a story retold in the exploration of human nature and exactly who we become if it means survival both in the literal and figurative sense. Megan Navarro, no wait, maybe it could be Megan or Megan, I'm not sure. I apologize. A Bloody Disgusting wrote the film is full of vibrant personality with all of Raimi's signatures. Yes. Now, I will say I do have a little bit of an issue though with its CGI, but the effects are pretty good and what have you. But some of its CGI was a little, yeah, and what have you. Especially the battle against that wild boar. That was whoa. And some of it got a little sick. What have you? Yeah. Man, no, I just do that sometimes when something disgusting happens. But it don't scare me much. Something kind of shocked me a little bit. Whew, but I sure did have fun with this film. This film turned out to be pretty good. Danny Elfman, who of course is no stranger to working with Sam Raimi, of course joins him for the score of this film. I've got to admit, he does an amazingly good job in what have you. Of course, this is Raimi's first film in, well, 4 years since Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But I've got to say, this is a pretty darn good film and what have you. I like the way how it proves to have all the right stuff to be in it. Definitely. And what can I say? It was just so, yeah. The story written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift was absolutely very good. I gotta give it credit for that, in my view. I especially do like how the ending turns out. It was a real surprise, though, but pretty darn good, though. But anyway, as much as I really think that this kind of overtakes Primate in ways, but this comes on par with 28 years later, The Bone Temple, though. How I liked that when I just watched that, well, a month or so ago. Now, for the cast, we have Rachel McAdams, who, of course, reteams with Raimi after appearing in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. She plays Linda Little, and what can I say? She gives one hell of a performance in this. I must say, she's very good in her performance. This is probably one of the best performances I've seen her give in ages, and what have you. Probably since the first Doctor Strange, but I think there might have been something else she did, but who am I kidding? Dylan O'Brien, who I mostly know him from the Maze Runner trilogy, and of course, a lot of you might remember him of MTV's Teen Wolf series, plays Bradley Preston. I must say, he's a pretty good character too. I mean, I liked his performance as well. So, the performances of McAdams and O'Brien's are absolutely superb, definitely. Now, for other cast members, we have Ismail as Zuri, Bradley's fiance, and let's see, Xavier Samuel as Donovan, the former frat brother of Bradley's, and Chris Pang as Chase, one of Bradley's inner circle. Also, there's Dennis Haysbert, who I've known from a few things, and also of TV's 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. And of course, he's also been on, well, several other things. He has appeared in the Major League films and also on TV's Lucifer. And of course, more recently, he's also been seen in Allstate commercials. Well, he used to be in some Allstate commercials, but yeah. Was surprised to see him. He plays Franklin, a senior executive at Bradley's firm who is on good terms with Linda. So you got to admit the cast is pretty good in what have you. With a runtime of nearly 2 hours, this is kind of a whoa. But I still think what they do in what have you to survive manages to do pretty well for him, what have you. So it kind of makes me feel like I'm seeing Survivor for the first time in a long time, except in a different way, without any other people or even host Jeff Probst. Although I think I read somewhere he was supposed to have like a cameo in this, but at least I at least I think I read somewhere he was supposed to, but I could be wrong though, however. But still, I have to say that this is absolutely a good film, a good horror flick. This is a flick I definitely would recommend you watch. I like the story, its characters, its cast, its score from Danny Elfman, and Sam Raimi's direction. I have to say this is pretty good. It's just that some of the CGI was a little, you know, but I think Send Help will probably be one of my favorite films of the year. Maybe one of my favorite horror flicks in the year, I can tell. But Send Help, it's pretty good. The film is currently available on DVD and Blu-ray, and it's also now available to stream on Hulu and Disney Plus. For my score, I'm going to give Send Help 4.5 stars. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 9. So, what did you think of Send Help? Tell me what you thought about in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, and you know the rest. Please stand by. Okay, join me next time when I bring to you a review of Greenland. So if you like this, check out my reviews for these other films. Here's my reviews, or should I say spoiler-free reviews of these two other horror flicks from earlier this year. The upper left-hand corner is my review of Primate. The upper right-hand corner is my review of 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Or you can go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my spoiler-free review of Sam Raimi's recent hit from 2022 in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.